I'm Nicholas Balasi with Just the News, here with Washington, D.C. Shadow Senator Paul Strauss. He's been the Shadow Senator since 1997, and he joins us today. Thanks for taking some time to speak with me, Senator.
Great to be with you, Nicholas.
So, there's a lot of momentum, as you know, behind Statehood because it passed out of the House. As the eyes turn to the Senate, I wanted to get your take on kind of where things are at. I understand to get to 51 votes, you need about 5 senators. So I wanted to find out where it's at and how you see this playing out, the statehood issue.
Well, first of all, to those who say it's an uphill battle, it's always been an uphill battle. And I've been at this, as you know, a long time because you've been covering this issue and covering this community for a long time. So the idea that we're literally 5 people away from a majority in the Senate after having passed the House is pretty significant. And it's easy to focus on the task when you're looking at 5 minds to change. I don't even know that we have to necessarily change minds. I mean, Senator Shaheen, who's one of the senators who is not yet on the bill, was a co-sponsor of a prior version. Kristen Sinema, who is not yet on the bill, was a supporter of statehood when she was a member of her state legislature. So even people like Joe Manchin haven't taken a position against the bill. It's just a question of educating them enough to get them to where we need them to be comfortable signing on as official supporters. Now, when we get to that point, do we have to have a serious conversation about the filibuster? You betcha. But it's not worth engaging in that discussion yet because we need the 50 senators plus the vice president to get us to the magic number 51, which is significant to us in any way. We need 51 people to help us become the 51st state. So I'm sure there's numerology mystics that are going to be having a deeper take on the significance of that number. But to us, we are excited about the progress we've made.
Well, when you hear a Republican or just a critic of DC statehood, even in the Democratic Party, say that it's not constitutional and that DC was not set up as a state, it was set up as a city, and that's it. There should not be a redrawing of the boundaries. How do you respond to someone who would make that argument, like you heard on the House floor?
Sure. And we know that there'll be senators making that argument. Look, we've redrawn these lines once to accommodate a request by the Commonwealth of Virginia to take back 2 counties that were one part of Washington, D.C., the city of Alexandria and the county of Arlington. They did that for a indefensible reason, which was to protect the slave trade. When Republicans first got to Congress, they were trying to abolish the slave trade in the seat of government, and the Commonwealth of Virginia wanted to protect it. And so at that time, Democrats went along and allowed it to be retroceded back to protect the slave trade. Now, if you can retrocede to protect the trading of slaves, such an offensive and horrific part of our history, then surely it's just as legal to do it to empower in so many of the descendants of enslaved people who live in the nation's capital and others, and give them equal rights under the Constitution. The Constitution is really clear. It sets a maximum size of the capital. It doesn't set a minimum size. And so when you shrink the seat of government to the federal district, and remember, right now in Washington, D.C., there is a federal district, and there is a border on that federal district. And things work differently in the federal district. The trash is picked up by federal employees, not local DC taxpayer-funded sanitation workers. The police are federal police, not local DC metropolitan police. You buy something at a store in the federal district, you're not paying sales tax to Washington, D.C. So, if you're worried that somehow statehood means you're going to have to pay sales tax on a purchase from the Smithsonian gift shop, the truth is you won't, just like you don't now. So we take the federal district and we make it the seat of government, and we allow the residential portion been separate from Maryland since 1790. That's a very, very old state border. So there's no interest in reuniting us with Maryland, not on our part, not on Maryland's part. So that should be enough to stop people talking about it. But of course they will.
After the House vote took place, some of the media were saying, well, the issue of statehood for DC is dead in the Senate in this session of Congress. Do you think that it's dead in this session of Congress?
Absolutely not. We're 5 votes away from a statistical majority, and we're engaged in serious discussions about whether or not we need to amend rules.